For decades, the battlefield was dominated by machines built to represent power. Massive tanks crossing front lines. Advanced fighter jets controlling the skies. Warships carrying the strength of entire nations. Military superiority was often measured by one simple question. Who has the biggest, most advanced, and most expensive weapons? But modern warfare is revealing a different reality. A small drone, sometimes built from commercially available components, is changing the way armies think about combat. It can fly through narrow spaces. It can provide real-time battlefield information. And it can create problems for military equipment that costs hundreds or even thousands of times more. This is the rise of FPV drones. A technology that began as a hobby for drone enthusiasts has now become one of the most closely watched developments in modern warfare. The question is no longer whether drones will influence future conflicts. The question is how far this technology can go. Because on today's battlefield, size and cost are no longer the only measures of power. Speed, adaptation, and innovation have become just as important. And FPV drones are proving that a small piece of technology can create a massive strategic impact. Welcome to the War Report. This is where we break down the military technologies, battlefield strategies, and defense innovations shaping the world today. From drone warfare and missile systems to fighter jets, naval power, and the future of military technology, we analyze not only what is happening, but why it matters. If you want to understand the technology behind modern conflicts and the strategies changing warfare, subscribe and join the War Report community. Now, let's take a closer look at the technology forcing militaries around the world to adapt: FPV drones. To understand why FPV drones have become so important, we first need to understand what they actually are. FPV stands for first-person view. Unlike traditional drones that may rely heavily on automated flight systems, FPV drones are controlled directly by an operator who sees through a camera mounted on the front of the aircraft. The operator experiences the flight almost as if they are sitting inside the drone itself. This allows for extremely precise movements. The drone can move quickly, change direction rapidly, and navigate environments where larger aircraft would struggle. Originally, FPV drones were not designed for warfare. They were popular among hobbyists and drone racing communities, where pilots competed to fly small drones through challenging courses at high speeds. But military observers began recognizing something important. The same characteristics that made these drones exciting for racing also made them valuable in combat. They were fast. They were flexible. They were relatively inexpensive. And they could be modified for different battlefield roles. This combination created a technology that was simple enough to produce but powerful enough to influence military operations. For many years, advanced military drones were associated with large defense programs. They required specialized manufacturing, extensive training, and significant financial investment. But FPV drones introduced a completely different model. Instead of depending only on expensive military platforms, forces could adapt smaller systems using widely available technology. This changed the economics of warfare. A traditional military asset may represent years of research, development, and billions of dollars in investment. But a smaller drone system can potentially be produced and deployed much faster. This creates a new challenge for military planners. How do you protect expensive equipment against a threat that is cheaper, smaller, and easier to replace? That question has become one of the most important discussions in modern defense analysis. Because the battlefield is no longer only about having the most powerful weapon. It is also about having the ability to innovate faster than your opponent. So what exactly makes FPV drones such an important development in modern warfare? The answer is not just one feature. It is the combination of several advantages working together. The first is cost efficiency. Military history has often been shaped by expensive technology. Advanced aircraft, missile systems, and armored vehicles have traditionally required enormous financial investment. But FPV drones introduced a different equation. A relatively affordable system can create a serious challenge for much larger and more expensive military assets. This changes the balance between cost and capability. When a low-cost technology can force an opponent to spend far more resources on defense, the strategic impact becomes much larger than the weapon itself. The second advantage is speed of adaptation. Traditional military equipment can take years to design, test, and deploy. FPV drone technology can evolve much faster. Operators can modify designs, improve components, and adjust tactics based on battlefield experience. This creates a constant cycle of innovation. The drone used today may not be the same drone used tomorrow. The technology changes because the battlefield demands change. The third advantage is precision and flexibility. Because the operator receives a live view from the drone, they can make decisions in real time. This allows the system to respond to changing conditions and navigate complex environments. A drone can move through areas where larger aircraft may not be practical. It can observe. It can gather information. And it can influence decisions on the ground. This combination of affordability, adaptability, and precision is what makes FPV drones so significant. The biggest impact of FPV drones is not simply the drone itself. The biggest impact is how they have changed the way military forces operate. For generations, armies developed strategies around controlling territory, protecting equipment, and moving forces effectively. But the increasing presence of drones has introduced a new challenge. The battlefield is becoming more visible. Movement that was once hidden can now be observed from above. Positions that were difficult to locate can become easier to identify. And commanders must now consider threats coming from a new direction. The sky is no longer only controlled by large aircraft. Small unmanned systems have created a new layer of competition. This has affected everything from vehicle movement to battlefield planning. Military units now have to think differently about where they move, how they hide, how they communicate, and how they protect important equipment. The presence of drones has increased the importance of camouflage, concealment, and electronic warfare. In many ways, modern warfare is becoming a battle of information. The side that can see first, understand faster, and adapt quicker often gains an advantage. FPV drones contribute directly to that transformation. The rise of FPV drones represents a larger shift in military thinking. In the past, technological superiority was often connected to size. Bigger aircraft, bigger ships, bigger weapons. But modern conflicts are showing that smaller technologies can also create significant strategic effects. This does not mean traditional military platforms are becoming useless. Tanks, aircraft, naval systems, and missile defenses still play important roles. Instead, it means future warfare will likely depend on how different technologies work together. A powerful military force is no longer defined only by what equipment it owns. It is defined by how quickly it can adapt. And that is where FPV drones have created such a major conversation. Before we continue, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching the War Report from today? Drop your city and country in the comments below. I want to know where this community is growing from and which parts of the world are following these military technology breakdowns. Now, let's continue. Whenever a new military technology changes the battlefield, another question immediately follows: how do you stop it? The rise of FPV drones has created an entirely new area of defense known as counter-drone warfare. Military organizations are now investing heavily in technologies designed to detect, disrupt, and defend against unmanned systems. One major area of focus is electronic warfare. Many drones depend on communication signals between the operator and the aircraft. Disrupting those connections can affect how effectively the drone operates. Other approaches involve detection systems, radar technology, and specialized defensive solutions. But this creates another challenge. The competition between drones and counter-drone systems is constantly evolving. Every improvement in drone technology creates demand for better defenses. Every new defense system encourages developers to find new ways around those defenses. This cycle of innovation has become one of the defining characteristics of modern military technology. The rise of FPV drones has created a new technological race. But this race is not only about building better drones. It is about building smarter systems. Modern warfare is increasingly becoming a competition between technology, intelligence, and adaptation. A drone is only one part of the equation. Behind every successful operation is a network of information. Operators need communication. Commanders need intelligence. Units need coordination. And technology needs to work together. This is why drone warfare is changing more than just the weapons being used. It is changing the entire structure of battlefield decision-making. The ability to collect information, analyze it quickly, and respond faster than an opponent has become one of the most valuable advantages in modern combat. FPV drones are a major part of that transformation because they connect the physical battlefield with the digital battlefield. The future of FPV drones will likely be defined by one major question. How much control will humans keep as technology becomes more advanced? Today, many FPV systems still depend heavily on human operators. A person makes decisions. A person controls movement. A person reacts to changing conditions. But future developments could introduce greater levels of automation. Artificial intelligence could help drones navigate more effectively. Advanced sensors could improve their ability to identify objects and understand environments. Communication systems could become more resistant to interference. And multiple drones could potentially operate together as coordinated groups. This possibility has attracted significant attention from military planners around the world. Because the future battlefield may not only involve individual machines. It may involve networks of connected systems working together. However, technology also creates new challenges. More advanced systems require stronger security. They require reliable communication. And they raise important questions about control, responsibility, and decision-making. The future of warfare will not simply be about creating smarter machines. It will be about how humans choose to use those machines. Throughout history, certain technologies have completely changed how wars are fought. The introduction of armored vehicles transformed ground combat. Aircraft changed the importance of air superiority. Precision weapons changed the way targets could be reached. Now, unmanned systems are creating another major shift. FPV drones represent a new type of military innovation. They show that battlefield influence is no longer limited only to countries with the largest defense budgets. A smaller force with creativity, technical knowledge, and the ability to adapt can use emerging technologies in powerful ways. This does not mean traditional military power has disappeared. Large platforms still matter. Aircraft carriers, fighter jets, missile systems, and advanced defense networks remain critical. But the balance is changing. The future military advantage may belong to those who can combine traditional power with rapid technological innovation. The story of FPV drones teaches a much larger lesson about modern warfare. The most important weapon is not always the biggest weapon. Sometimes, the most influential technology is the one that changes how everyone else has to think. FPV drones have forced militaries to reconsider movement, protection, surveillance, and battlefield awareness. They have shown that technology can create opportunities for those willing to experiment and adapt. And they have proven that innovation does not always come from the most expensive systems. Sometimes, it comes from simple ideas improved through necessity. That may be the most important reason FPV drones have gained so much attention. They represent a shift in military thinking. A shift from relying only on traditional strength toward combining technology, speed, and adaptability. But despite their influence, FPV drones are not a replacement for every other military system. They are one piece of a much larger picture. The future battlefield will likely not be controlled by one single technology. Instead, it will be shaped by how different systems work together. The aircraft, the missiles, the ships, the armored vehicles, and the unmanned systems operating alongside them. The military organizations that understand this changing environment will be the ones best prepared for the conflicts of tomorrow. The rise of FPV drones has revealed something important about the direction of modern warfare. The battlefield is becoming faster. It is becoming more connected. And it is becoming more dependent on information. In previous generations, military success was often determined by who had more resources. More soldiers. More vehicles. More weapons. But the modern battlefield is introducing another factor: who can adapt the fastest. Technology is evolving at a speed that military organizations must constantly keep up with. A system that provides an advantage today may require improvement tomorrow. This creates a new environment where innovation is not just an advantage. It is a necessity. FPV drones are a perfect example of this transformation. They started as a civilian technology. They were developed for recreation. But through adaptation and innovation, they became a serious factor in military strategy. Their story shows that the future of warfare may not always be decided by the largest platforms. It may also be decided by the ability to recognize opportunities, improve technology, and respond quickly to changing conditions. The story of FPV drones is not simply about a small aircraft. It is about a much bigger change taking place in military thinking. It is about how technology can reshape strategy. It is about how innovation can challenge traditional assumptions. And it is about how the battlefield of tomorrow may look very different from the battlefield of yesterday. The rise of FPV drones has changed how military organizations think about surveillance, protection, movement, and combat operations. They have created new opportunities. They have created new challenges. And they have started a new chapter in the evolution of warfare. The question now is not whether drones will continue to influence military operations. They already have. The real question is how far this technology will evolve and what the next generation of warfare will look like. If you found this analysis valuable, make sure you subscribe to the War Report. Here, we break down the military technologies, strategies, and innovations shaping the world today. From drone warfare and missile systems to fighter jets, naval power, and the future of defense technology, we bring you detailed explanations behind the headlines. If you enjoyed this report, share it with someone interested in military technology and modern warfare. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our next analysis. Thank you for watching the War Report. This has been your deep dive into how FPV drones changed modern warfare. I'll see you in the next report.